Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You are now listening to That Infernal Noise podcast, part of the Mental Health News Radio Network. Fuck yeah. Okay, well, now that I know that you've been recording, hi everyone. We're back. We had to take a small mandatory overtime break.
Yeah, there wasn't.
There was.
I literally did nothing but wake up, work, go to sleep,
wake
and
up.
that was even on the weekends.
Yes.
Essentially, I got a handful of hours to myself on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, because it was what mandatory at least 4 hours even each day of the weekend.
And it was fucking warranted. And
yes.
Honestly, the only reason I got as caught up as I did was because of the weekend. So
yeah.
So luckily we didn't have a whole lot going on.
That was very fortunate. I mean, because even for Thanksgiving, we didn't do much at all, which I'm totally okay with, and I am.
Got to see some of the kids in the family.
Yes.
That was very nice.
That is always nice to see the kids.
And in that, we also got invited to a Friendsgiving at Anthony and Veronica's.
That made my heart so happy because
the fact that anybody thinks of us for stuff like that really, I always enjoy being around Anthony and Veronica in general.
Oh yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah,
super amazing.
I mean, it was nice to just sit down and talk, and we didn't have any of our kids there, which was weird because we're the older parents now.
Yeah.
And Logan was with Chris.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah, that was weird.
It was odd, but it was kind of nice to be a person again after 20 fucking years.
Yeah, that's...
And just be Robert and not Chris, Kaylee, Noe, and Logan's dad. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I didn't have to worry about getting on to kids. I was just like, hey, they're fucking shit up on their own, and they're not mine. I don't have to worry about it.
All I get to do is sit back and watch the shit happen and be like...
And just how much energy all of the little ones had, just running around and just.
I'm not used to that anymore.
I know you're not, but it always makes me happy. Like I love that chaos, that little kid chaos, not like actual chaos.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because it reminds me of whenever ours were little. Like,
yeah,
they were running around doing stupid shit like that all the time.
I think, especially recently, I just get more overstimulated. Anyway, and I have been the past...
For a long time now.
Well, yeah. I was going to say for the past 6 months, but I can't even say 6 months.
No, it's been way long. That part has been way longer than that. I'm taking my shoes off.
The new comfy shoes.
They are comfortable as shit, but they're not worn in, so they're not breathing the same way.
Ah.
But that's also probably because of the hole I had in the soles.
Yeah, that's not breathing. That's just an open shoe.
Shoe separating from the sole.
Yeah,
rather.
That's not a breathable shoe. That's just a hole in your shoe.
Well, my feet stay cool.
This is true.
So I don't know how much you want to get into.
Ask away. Whatever you want to ask. The past, since what, May? No. Not May. Since end of June, it's just been. I realized I haven't processed shit from certain aspects of my whole life. There are certain aspects of the past 10 years I haven't processed still. And with Kaylee's recent hospital stay, that brought shit back. Like, so literally anything and everything. I don't see the point in not talking about anything and everything.
Okay, well, starting point. Where are you with the holidays now?
I'm glad Thanksgiving's over, and that still breaks my heart to say. because Thanksgiving was my holiday. And this year it was very different, extremely different. Because even last year we tried to have everyone over, and we had the cousins over, and we had...
But it's still, we were all still reeling, because the year before that was the last year we all got to spend with Grandma. Mm-hmm. And that was the last holiday we celebrated with her. And then last year was the last holiday we got with Mom.
Yeah.
So it just...
And...
It's just had that, for lack of a better term, that stink on it.
Yeah. Because that, week and a half after Thanksgiving is when Mom passed. Week and
as we're recording this, it's a day past her 1 year anniversary.
Yeah. So what? It's a week and a day past Thanksgiving.
Essentially.
And then on top of that, it's back-to-back anniversaries. Anniversary sounds like such a celebratory thing, and I don't want to use.
I actually prefer that. That's why I like it. Because I'm trying not to grieve it as much anymore. I'm trying to celebrate it, because you can't unring the bell.
That's true, fair, and valid.
I'd much rather try to celebrate that I got people on the other side waiting for me.
That's
a better way. That didn't dawn on me until last night whenever I was doing my journal to Mom.
Yeah. Celebrating things right now is hard for me. Because of so many things that I've ignored in myself. So many things that I have decided to overlook. Because if you're not changing it, you're choosing it. And I've chosen to...
That phrase does irritate the fuck out of me, to be completely honest.
It does. It does.
There is a very big level of truth to that.
There is a huge level of truth to it. And I understand that with me personally, we all have fears. We all have issues initiating things. When it comes to motivating ourselves to do better, change, it's very scary for everyone. So, yeah, I understand that some things are easier said than done, and it all takes time and effort, and I understand, but there is a huge level of truth to, if you're not changing it, you're choosing it. And
you haven't always, neither one of us have always realized that.
Yeah. And because a lot of people won't like that because it puts ourselves at the center of accountability.
That's a whole nother topic.
And it's not comfortable and it's not fun because everyone has something that you just want someone else to take care of. You don't want to be accountable for it at all.
That's what I want everybody to do. I would want fucking take control of my life, please. I wish I was joking.
No, I get it.
Being the master of your own destiny is...
of a bitch.
It sounds amazing. And, all of the self-help gurus and all that stuff, they're onto something with it. I'm not arguing that.
Yes, you are the author of your own book.
People like us, it's hard. Not fucking easy. Because not only have we been told externally how much we can't do something, mm-hmm. that turned into internal talk, mm-hmm. too. And we're fighting uphill both ways, literally, because we're fighting against everything we've been told and everything that we're telling ourselves.
Yeah. Each thing is a sandbag that gets latched on. And I'm working in a workbook for self-love because I have abandoned myself at every turn. I have never chosen myself. I have never chosen what I need, what I actually want, what I actually need,
what's best for you.
What is best for me. I had a therapy session today, and I haven't had one since...
It's been a minute.
I think October.
That sounds right. Oh, shit. Sorry.
Earthquake!
Don't say that.
I'm joking.
It's the last fucking thing we need.
It's Texas. The chances of us in this area, in the DFW area, having...
Fucking Fort Worth was getting them.
It's Fort Worth. I'm joking, kind of. Only a little bit.
And that's how you know you grew up in Dallas.
Just saying. Hey, Fort Worth fuckers are saying that shit about Dallas all the time. And if our dog does not stop whining, I'm sorry if it picks up.
That's character.
That's character.
They just don't like the kitty gate up.
They don't.
Now, I don't know what we should just call it the doggy gate now because
there's no kids.
We don't do it for kids.
There's
We barely did it for the kids that we did have with it.
No.
Because it was essentially just to keep them out while you were cooking.
Yeah.
That was it. So they didn't so the little ones didn't get into the stove and shit.
Yeah. I don't even remember where I was.
The fighting uphill both ways.
Yeah. Oh, each thing is like a sandbag so like self-starting is really hard for me. There's some undiagnosed stuff.
It's a lot of undiagnosed stuff. A lot of alphabets.
Lot of stuff. Just a bunch of letters. But there are certain things like just the breakdown of my mental load. The mental, like, and I've used this as an example several times. Low demand tasks for certain people are very high demand tasks for me. That's why,
and
like,
not that it's physically a high demand task; it's mentally and emotionally a high demand task.
And that's I don't think, like, I used to ask for help, and you'd be like, "Make me a list," and it's like it's all up here. I don't know how to put it on paper.
I'm trying.
No, and you are. But that, and I never understood how to use my words to describe my experience with that shit. So you would fully understand what I meant by I just do the things, or I just.
No, I got it, but I focus better whenever I'm tell me to do something, I'll get it fucking done.
Yes. And that's just a male thing across the board.
Yeah, it's like you tell me what you need to get done, and I'll get it done. Like
that's fair.
It's very simple. I'm not atypical male in very many ways, but that is one of them.
Yes, but you have gotten better of like just noticing something and being like, "Hey, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. Will you do LMNOP or whatever?"
Speaking of which, I need to run the class.
But like. So I've realized that I don't even remember what point I was trying to make, but like high demand tasks, like it is so easy for me to give up on myself because I'm not someone else. That's the long and short of it.
You've spent your life putting everybody else first.
Yes. And
in
I
some
do
cases having to.
Yes. And I do literally mean my whole life. I was telling, and I've said this to you, a number of times, and like I said, I had therapy today, and
that did not go as well as we had hoped.
It didn't,
there's a lot to it.
There's a lot to it. And I don't mind going into it, but I don't think that's the starting point, or should be the starting point of what's going on.
Yeah, but you know how our conversations go.
Yeah. So I'm currently working in a workbook. I know I mentioned the workbook earlier. It's coming back. The train is on the rails again, I think. But I'm working on this workbook for self-love because it is so evident that I do nothing for myself. And when depression comes in, when my anxieties come in, when my mental spiciness, when my neurospicy, whatever is
whatever it is, whatever the letters are associated,
because I'm not gonna say I'm on the spectrum because I'm not diagnosed. Do I? Are there some fucking indicators?
There's some fuckery afoot.
There's something not typical.
Not neurotypical.
I am not neurotypical, and it is evident in a lot of ways. My mother was told...
And it's more than just everybody has their quirks.
Yes, I was told... Or no, in elementary school, I was told that I needed to be tested for some things, and I was not. So I'm going to go out on a limb.
And say that probably...
Yes, I'm gonna say there's... I know for...
We don't self-diagnose in this house, but we've read enough and learned enough to where that's probably it.
And if I can get some helpful hints or tips or tricks on how to live a normal life, yes, I'm not going to be parading around of this is my diagnosis.
You're not going to be having one of the colored flags.
No, I'm
all that shit.
Not because I don't believe in them. It's just that I'm personally...
let that be reserved for the people
that are actually diagnosed.
Yes, and that truly need that.
Yes,
that social thing,
whatever it is
to them, but let them have that
designated for people who are diagnosed, who have gone through the proper steps.
Yes,
I have not done that. I was told I needed to be, excuse me, I was told I needed to be tested for I don't remember if at that time, because it was mid 90s, so it was just ADD,
if I'm not mistaken. I think the hyperactivity came around in the early aughts.
I want to say that,
not that it came around, but that it was more differentiated
right
at that point.
And I do think there's some spectrum issues just because of there's some similarities. And again, anything I read or ingest when it comes to my neurospiciness is for my personal use only. I use it for myself. I will say, hey, this works for me, but this is not for everyone.
But that's what everybody should do with everything, regardless of diagnosis.
Exactly, because just because I'm diagnosed with something and you're diagnosed with the same thing doesn't mean that we're going to have the same quirks, or we're going to have the same things.
If there's a lot of similarities, chances are I know what the fuck I'm talking about.
If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck.
Just saying, 9
times out of 10,
I have a lot of... I don't want to say bitterness, because it's not bitterness, but there's a lot of shit that goes with that. It's just like, I usually know what the fuck I'm talking about. Not whenever it comes to me, but how many times have I called something a duck that wasn't a duck?
Yeah, you're very good at spotting ducks. I'll give you that.
As long as they're outside.
You can't spot the ducks inside.
My ducks are like fucking Daffy and Donald arguing with each other.
I don't have ducks. I have squirrels. There's a rave. There's drugs involved. The squirrels are doing drugs. I'm not doing drugs. Not me.
Well, by proxy, wouldn't you be doing drugs? If the drugged out squirrels are in charge, you're technically on drugs.
Okay, metaphorically speaking, I have no ducks. There is no row. There's squirrels. There's a rave, and everyone is twacked out.
Like that dude that was watching the fucking fingers in that video the other day.
That
shit
those.
was fucking great.
Light shows were so fun. Anyway, it's just been a lot. And realizing that I just realized I never finished my thought of what I told my therapist today and what I've told you a handful of times. I never finished the fucking thought.
I told you, our conversations.
But I have been saying, and I have felt my whole life, that I was not born to have a life of my own.
In some instances, that was you doing it, but in a lot of instances, it was not you doing it. You were forced.
Well, yeah, I was forced to
live your life for other people.
Yeah.
And I include myself in that. Like, I was very selfish, especially earlier on, and then at various points throughout our relationship. And that's where my self-diagnosis kicks in, because finally figured out what the thing is. And reading that book about BPD, they're not just from my perspective, but from your perspective, a lot of dots got connected. And again, not diagnosed, whatever, but
if we can,
I think from my perspective, once I got that information, a lot of things have changed since then.
Yeah, they have.
And I was talking about it whenever I recorded earlier. Naming the demon has kind of taken its power away a little bit. There's still moments, like this weekend, for example, something minute. In the grand scheme of things, it should have been minute. Knowing everything that you're struggling with and all of that stuff, like, I shouldn't have gotten as twisted about it as I did. But because of all the stress of the anniversary of Grandma, and then followed by the anniversary of Mom coming up,
middle day is just shit.
It hit me
hard,
wrong, and I completely split. Like, it was back to the black and white. If you're not this, you're that. If you're not that, you're this. And
two things can exist at the same time.
And I lose all sight of that.
Yeah.
In those moments. And I don't fucking like it. That's why I like that we did find that book and I was able to see that it wasn't just me. See that there is something off up here that in those moments I unfortunately
can't see.
I can't control, and it becomes a stream of consciousness and I just start fucking going.
Yeah.
And normally it's not a bad thing. It's usually just stupid bullshit, but that one was intense. And it sucked because I was so heightened. I've noticed that it's when I'm heightened emotionally, and I get heightened emotionally very often, but it's that coupled with anxiety of whatever. So if there's like a lot going on and I'm overstimulated plus over emotional, you put those two together and that's when Bobby goes bye-bye.
It's just,
and I don't know how much of that you want to talk about, but it's up to you.
I'm willing to talk about anything, like I said, anything and everything, because I have to not be scared of talking about anything, because if I'm scared to talk about it, then it has some sort of hold on me.
That's a good way to look at it.
And I can't have anything have a hold on me if I'm going to do whatever needs to be done. And that scares the fuck out of me because, like I was saying, I popped out of a crazy straw. I have literally been dealing, now knowing scientifically and factually what we know now about fetuses and taking on the stress levels of the mother. And
that shit fucked me up whenever
I have been fucked up for 39 years and I'm only 38 on paper. Because I was
in utero.
And
God only knows and I don't what happened then. Because I'm sure you know a couple of things, but you don't know exactly the circumstances or if anything else was
well, because I know that the woman was living a lie, a whole ass lie. A whole fucking ass lie. My whole life, until I was 35 years old, she lived a lie in some capacity.
Mm-hmm.
And that started before I was born.
Clearly.
And so, I feel that because of how I was born and who I was born to and everything
the circumstances of it,
of everything,
the circumstances after it, like,
and if you want to start going into my perception of my fucked up life, I don't mind doing that either, because it's who's going to tell me no?
You've already been told no.
Who's going to tell me to stop talking about it? No one talks to me. What is literally anybody going to say? Stop telling the truth. Stop telling the truth because it sounds bad.
You better hope we never get money, otherwise we'll get sued.
You can't sue if I don't use your name. Sorry.
I almost said it because of lawsuits with other people.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
And then the song popped into my head.
Same. I know this episode probably sounds really vague. Really, really vague. Because it's so generalized. I feel like it's so vague. Because it has to be. Because I'm going through life and I don't know which part to talk about first. Because if I do a deep dive on one section, then I have to explain other parts, which take a whole other.
I got to tell you this story to finish this story,
yes.
And then go on a side tangent about this story because it ties into both, or it ties into this one, so I can tell you this.
And then this random fucking thing from when I was 7 is gonna make everything make sense, like. So, because of the circumstances of my life and how I was taught to be, how I was taught to exist in this world. I was told a lot of things. I was told to be very strong and I was told to be very independent. And then there was a whole other slew of things I was taught to be very by myself. I was not, and people may turn their nose up about how I'm going to say this. I'm only saying this because I identify as a female. And I know that I don't need anybody to be complete. I'm a whole person by myself. But I was not raised. I was not raised, period. End of sentence. Jot that down. But I was not brought up to be, and I say a wife because I choose to be a wife, but I was not raised to be someone's partner. I was not raised to be a life partner. I was not raised to be a good person to be with.
You were raised to be an obedient daughter.
I was raised to be an obedient daughter, but also I was raised to like...
Fuck men, vastly independent.
I was raised to not need...
Or rely. And you couldn't trust anybody.
Yes. I couldn't...
all that shit.
I couldn't trust anybody but her because...
Which I'm not even going to point out the fucking irony of that. It's almost like it's narcissistic tendencies, but whatever.
Again,
like, nobody's going to love you like I do. Like that's
exactly what I was told.
The parental equivalent.
That's what I was told. I was told no one's going to love you like I do. And don't get me wrong, I understand maybe of where she was trying to come from of I am your mom and I feel a love for you that I don't think anybody else can feel for you because they're not your mother. But to tell your child that no one will love them.
But it's also incorrect because
Fair?
It's us coming from a parental standpoint. It's like
it's a different kind of love. It's subjective.
I have to be your parent. You have to be my kid. That's just the way it is biologically. That's literally what the situation is.
Right.
You didn't choose this. I didn't. I mean, I guess indirectly as a parent, you choose it. But, well, in my case, some people plan shit out for years, but we're not going to get into that. And then as siblings with each other, like, you're stuck being siblings.
Yeah.
The only person that chooses you is your partner.
Yeah.
And I, at the point I'm at now, would argue that that's a more potent kind of love. And I will never, I would never tell Chris, Patty's never going to love you like we love you.
Oh, never.
Because one, I don't fucking believe it.
Well,
Two, she's an amazing girl and she has a gigantic fucking heart. And that's what he needs. He needs somebody that
has a big
loves
heart
big
like he does.
So he can love big.
Yeah.
And I hope that their love is bigger and more important than any of the relationships he has with the parents.
And because that's how it's supposed to be.
That's how it should be. Like, that should be the love of your fucking life.
Yeah, that's how it should be. That is how it's supposed to be.
That's why they call it that. It's like, nobody's saying, oh, my mom's the love of my life. And if they are, exactly, that's the face you make. It's like, dude, hold on.
Don't say that. Don't say it that way.
It's just odd to me.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I didn't grow up a mama's boy, obviously, but...
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I kind of did, but...
I know what you mean.
That's another fucking...
You're not a mama's boy in the sense of she didn't have final say in anything of who you were dating.
Nobody had final say. Yeah. I didn't have final say in that shit.
You're like, we're just rolling with this.
Longer than I should.
Oh. Ez, hush. So you weren't a mama's boy that way. You wanted your mom's love and affection and attention. So I think that's a little different. I agree that you were not a mama's boy.
I don't have mama's boy tendencies outside of the fact that
you're grandmama's boy.
I enjoy people taking care of me.
You are a grandmama's boy, and that is
that. You find me one Mexicano that wasn't. One, just one.
Fair. Fair and valid. But yeah, you were definitely a grandmama's boy, and
I'll take that to the fucking grave. I don't give a fuck.
But
I was her special little man.
It's been hard to make progress. The way that I need progression to happen.
The way you need it, or how quickly you need it?
No, the way I need it.
Okay. I didn't know if you were conflating the two.
No. And the reason I'm saying it that way is because I'm talking about doing things for myself. So I'm not expecting any time because I've never done it. It's hard to put down on paper that you don't give a shit about you.
You don't do things for,
Yeah, that you don't think you matter.
Because that night that you did that, it really fucked you up.
It did.
Well,
it hurt.
I don't want it hurt you. I don't want to say fucked you up because it
hurt my feelings.
It made you sad.
It really hurt my feelings. It just made me sad to look because it's
see on paper how little you consider yourself.
Yeah. And it's funny because, when I was younger, there's this, and guys do it too. I mean, everyone does it, I guess. You puff your chest a little bit. I don't need anybody. I'm the best. You can't fuck with me. I don't give a fuck what anybody tells me.
And everybody that does that is doing just that. They're thumping their fucking chest and acting like they don't need anybody. Yeah. We're so, and I fucking hate admitting this most of all. We're social creatures.
We are.
We wither and decay without other people.
Yes.
On an
so
insane,
many
quick level.
Why do you think solitary confinement is
why is that the worst punishment you can give somebody over death?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because if you kill somebody, it's over. Like that's it.
But to have them,
but you're torturing them. Mm-hmm. You're literally torturing them.
And so when you think that, when you can't even yourself think that you were born for another purpose besides serving others, it's hard to do that for yourself.
And there's nothing wrong with that being your life's.
No, I don't. It only is when it's a detriment to.
Exactly. It's good to live in service of others. That's not a bad thing. You
know me, I'm a bleeding heart. I want to build homeless shelters, and I want to cry every time we go down and I see tents under bridges, and I want to.
Especially in places that they didn't exist before because they fucked up everything.
Yeah, because they're gentrifying everything and they're pushing everybody. And
that's such a.
You're building a nice new overpass.
That breaks my heart.
Yeah,
and I'm not the bleeding heart that way. typically.
And I very much am.
But you have a personal connection to it.
I do. But it's just very... When you think you're not born to have your own life, it's hard to give yourself that attention. And I know that in the books, they're like, oh, well, you just have to do this thing on every day. I don't.
But starting that routine and staying in that routine is the
very,
hard part.
Very hard for me because it is so easy for anything that is... Because you've heard the spoon analogy. You only have so many spoons in a day. Everything else takes my spoons. And there are 0 spoons for Nisha ever. Like there's
Mentally.
I have 0 mental spoons for myself. And I feel that if I take away a spoon from somewhere else, then
that person's no longer going to see your value.
Yeah. I have a lot of things I need to work through when it comes to
abandonment,
when it comes to not being able to provide XYZ.
Everything. See, that's the thing, because you're taking, you want to use the spoons analogy, you're taking certain spoons away. You're not taking all of the spoons away. And you're not giving yourself credit for the spoons you are giving to other people. You see what I'm saying? It's like you're not taking everything away from people. You're taking parts that you need to hold on to away from people. And you're assuming that that's because I'm taking this one piece away.
Yeah.
That automatically your worth is null and void.
Yeah. And it's just, it's a hard mindset to change because, as my therapist says, these are like on the wall of my life. These are not like scuffs that I can clean off or use a magic eraser on or like some cleaning solution in a washcloth or a repaint. These are
you're gonna have to fucking replace the drywall and
these are gouges shit. With like a spike are carved in. These are deep-seated, deep-rooted, essential core thoughts and thought processes that I've had because I've literally had them my entire life. And yes, it is. I'm not saying that you can't unlearn shit and you can't.
But it's hard to unlearn shit whenever you're, 1, in the thick of healing, 2, never had the opportunity to address it.
Or feel like I could. Or feel like I could say what I need to say.
I included all of that.
Okay.
Mentally, I did.
Yeah.
Obviously, I didn't say it all.
But it's just very hard when you can't be honest with yourself because you feel like you can't be honest out loud. And even in saying that, I'm like...
I mean, it's true. Like, I've owned everything.
Yeah.
Like, I know that I'm not necessarily the biggest part of that, but I added to it for fucking sure. You know, like, I exacerbated all of those feelings that you have because I did the same thing that other people did at certain points. And I know that. And no amount of apologizing is ever going to fix that. That's why I'm trying so hard to change the patterns and the behavior so hopefully over time you see that it's not all bullshit. You see that I'm not going anywhere. You see that I am here for the fucking long haul and I am going to do whatever it takes to help you get better, just like you did for me. Because as I've told you, God knows how many times, you deserve that. You deserve that least of all from me.
And that does mean a lot. Because it's hard.
Or you at least deserve that from me. I think I said that the other way around, where you're like, oh, you don't deserve whatever. Sorry. That's
I knew what you meant.
That's my neurospicy.
I think you said it correctly.
No, because I think I said it.
Like, that's you at least deserve that.
I don't know.
Least or
regardless,
least of all?
I mean that you deserve that.
I knew what you meant.
I'm gonna obsess over that now. It's gonna be fun. Well, especially whenever I take my edibles, that's gonna be the thing that pops back up. It's like, you fucking told her you didn't care.
No, that's not how I took that.
I understand that. I'm saying that that's what my brain
and you
does.
get to hear it again when you edit. If
Yay!
You like. It's not I know that you mean that. Of course,
at the very least, you deserve that.
Yes. See there.
I finally said it fucking right. That's how
I think that's how you said it previously.
I didn't say very, so it sounded different in my head.
Okay. Sorry, I'm picking at skin on my finger.
Picking at skin while you're recording.
Sorry. And then it's weird because even in this, it's like I gaslight myself. It's like, was it that bad? Should I just suck it up? Should I not worry about it?
Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't. What difference does it make? It still affected you.
But it was. It like the things that I'm saying were bad are bad.
No, but I'm just saying I'm not arguing that. I'm saying maybe to other people, like say the shit with your mom, for example. She doesn't see it the same way you do. What the fuck does that matter? It's not her experience with it. It's your experience with it. And your experience with it fucks you up.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I've told you that I have no opinion over what you feel about how things have played out in our relationship. I don't always agree with everything you say because I know where I was coming from in this one particular situation or whatever.
Yeah, but your intent and
my intent and your perception aren't always the same thing.
Yeah.
And you're allowed to have your perception of it because it triggered something or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Like, you're not wrong. I'm not wrong.
Yes.
But the situation still's got to be fixed.
Yeah. And it coming to that, these two things can exist at the same time.
And that was fucking difficult for both of us.
Yes. Yeah. And I've been struggling with that for a lot of things. And it's just the past, June, July, August, September, October, November. Oh, it has been 6 months. June, July, August.
Since what?
Since the end of June. I was trying, or I was going to say the past 6 months earlier, but I was like, oh no, since that was since late June. Then no, that is.
Yeah, it's fucking December.
It's the past 6 months have been very eye-opening, have been very.
The past 2 years have been very eye-opening.
Oh,
but it. I said this whenever I was recording the other one, like everything went into fucking light speed.
The past 6 months have been fucking wild.
Because shit that we didn't think was
ever gonna happen.
It was just like, and it's just like
boom,
one right after the other. It's like,
boom.
Okay, cool. I guess this is what we're doing. So,
I mean, and eventually those things will come out, and whatever happens, whatever. But it's been, the past 6 months have been the most eye-opening since starting therapy in 2020.
And there's been a lot of fucking revelations and realizations and all that shit.
And I know that this stuff doesn't end. Like, it's a forever process of evolving and
it's all the normal shit. It's just we have a different perception of it now.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's anything crazy or out of the ordinary. It's just we don't see things the same way anymore.
Yeah.
Because I had zero tolerance for bullshit to begin with, and now it's like a negative integer.
Yeah, because
I just
nothing is worth my peace.
I don't care. I don't care. Nothing is worth my peace and my happiness. Nothing is worth your peace and happiness to me. If you're feeling some kind of way, I feel some kind of way. If I feel some kind of way, you feel some kind of way.
And if either one of us feels some kind of way about it, we're not fucking doing it.
No, it's not happening because I don't see the point of that. Mm-mm. Because ultimately what happens is we're going to be home with each other. Mm-hmm. After whatever the fuck. And it's going to be weird between us.
Yeah.
Because one of us maybe wanted to do it. One of us didn't. There was a weird vibe. Well, whatever the fucking stupid situation is. And it's going to cause friction between us. Like, we've had enough fucking friction on our own. Why the fuck are we going to add to it?
Yeah. And even if...
Nothing is worth that anymore to me.
Yeah. Even if it's not going to cause friction between us...
Even if it's just uncomfortability in the moment, that's not worth it anymore.
Yeah, no.
I don't have to put up with that shit. I don't have to put myself in uncomfortable situations that I don't want to be in anymore, that you don't want to be in. Like, if we'll take our kids out of those situations, why are we going to put ourselves in those situations?
And that's fair. And historically, I have done the exact opposite for myself.
All you've done is just suck it up and be like, well... this one, blah, 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 whatever. And you'll just go along with it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I didn't force that a couple of times. A handful of times. More than a handful. But I'm trying not to now because I know I can see how detrimental that was to you now. Because I see how detrimental it was for me to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like... I don't know. Everything's just had a mirror up to it in the past 6 months. And it's just like,
it's really hard because I know I'm not perfect, but I know I haven't had space to do a lot of shit. When it comes to healing properly. And this part of it scares me. It does. I've been terrified that you're not going to like me anymore. That if I say no, or if I say I don't like things, or if I like different things now, or you know what I mean? I'm so terrified. My abandonment issues and my like that level or whatever that issue is so heightened right now. I'm so on alert. I feel like I have to be on guard and that I have to be like, because I feel like I'm going to get
those padded kendo sticks.
Huh?
So we have those padded kendo sticks.
But I feel like it's gonna, like I have to, like I'm going to get fucked over and I have to be on guard for it and that something's going to happen and I have to be...
Yeah, and that's her training, not yours.
And it is. Because I'm very much in flight mode. And that's the best way. Because I was raised to be a runner. I was raised to...
Because you saw it.
No. Not only did I see it, I was told, man, if I don't like something, I'll fucking move around. That was her thing. Fucking, if I don't like it, move around. And if I'm not going to deal with the shit, move around.
People would say that's what we do, but we don't uproot our entire lives. We just pivot. And it's just like, no, everything is still what it is. But
yeah, but she also
just not doing that no more.
Yeah, but she also didn't try to work on things and like communicate properly.
She would literally cut and run. And just start over again. Like, well, people don't know, blah, 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 whatever the fuck, so
yeah,
it didn't happen.
My brother's dad, we left in the middle of the night. I mean, granted, it was valid.
That was probably
as
valid.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Valid as fuck.
He was a grade A piece of shit.
Yeah.
So, just from the stories I've heard.
Oh, yeah. Grade A, prime rib, USDA.
Fuckwad.
Douche canoe. Like, oh my God. But that was the kind of person she was anyway, you know? And that's very, like I said, I was not shown how to be a good partner. I was not raised to be someone's partner. I was not raised to be a good partner in life. I kind of was, because I was shown a bunch of shit not to do.
Indirectly.
But I was not shown love. I was not shown mutual respect. I wasn't shown, even
what a partnership looked
like.
like.
Because even in her telling me that I didn't need to rely on anybody and da 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 da, there was no, you need to love yourself. You need to do what makes you happy. You need to take care of you.
But
you need to.
All she did at the same time was validate herself by taking care of all the fucking strays. And granted, that's not necessarily romantic, but what's the difference? Like, you'd rather put forth effort towards other people than yourself.
Yes.
And
you know, I am not like my mother in a lot of ways, but in that way, I am very much am.
As long as you say it and I don't.
While she had narcissistic traits and tendencies when it came to me, I was property. I was an extension of her. How dare I make her look bad? How dare I do this to her? But I was also, quote unquote, the perfect child until I wasn't.
Until you actually started going against the narrative.
Yeah, I went from the golden child to the black sheep real fucking quick.
But I mean, in all of the things we've read and researched and seen,
it goes
that
so
happens
fast
to so many people, because the golden child 9 times out of 10 ends up seeing through the bullshit.
Yeah, and then
they become the black sheep.
And it's fucked up because I have a brother who is 10 years younger than I am. And, like, her raising him was completely different. She flat out told me she gave up on him. I had to hear that. And I had to be like, oh, I get it. And I didn't get it. And I feel like a dick for even having to say, oh, I get it.
For even going along with it.
Yeah, because I didn't know what it was like to be a parent at that point. I didn't know what it was like to not have... And she didn't have a support system either. Like, it sucks being on this side of the intellectual side of
because
being able...
you realize why it happened.
Yeah, I get it. And me, I was late teens, early 20s, where she's like, I fucking gave up on him. And it pisses me off now because I could never say this about my kids, about... I could never...
We would never give up on our fucking kids.
Yes, and I would never... tell my one kid about...
I gave up on that one.
Yeah, and she flat out told me, "Oh, what'd she say? And this may not be verbatim, but it's pretty fucking close. I fucking gave up on him because I already raised such a good one with you." And it's like, wait, whoa.
Yeah, Chris is a really good fucking kid. He's got a really good heart. He's got a good work ethic. He is a good man.
That doesn't mean we give up on the rest of our fucking kids.
I'm not giving up on Kaylee. I'm not giving up on Noe. I'm not giving up on Logan.
Yeah, no. There were so many things that were wrong that were not wrong to her, but are wrong. So having that dynamic and having so many things where it's like, no, you're mine. What you feel, think, want doesn't matter. And then, of course, since I was raised in that, I perpetuated that, and I failed myself. I allowed, and of course, for anyone who is listening, I take accountability for my part to not diminish my experience. I didn't deserve anything that happened to me. I didn't deserve the trauma. I didn't deserve the bullshit. But I can also recognize that I always had a choice when it came to the partners I chose and the friends I decided to have.
The shit you tolerated with your mom to a point, too.
To a point, when it came...
But that was much later.
Yeah. Up until I'm 18...
certain points, you don't have a choice.
Up until I'm 18, I have to suck it up. She was my only caregiver. I didn't have a father or a father's side. I didn't even have a mother's side. I had no one, and I've had no one, and it sucks. And I had no one to save me. I had when I was a kid, I had no one, and I still struggle with that now. I have no aunts and uncles and cousins to like check in on me. I have nothing and no one when it comes to the familial relative side that know me and that I have inside stuff with, and I have none of that. I am so disconnected, and I was talking to Joe about this earlier today. It's like, I don't, as much as I want that, because I would love to feel like I'm part of a family, and that I have people that want to check on just me for me. And I don't have that. And I was telling her, I was like, as much as I want that, I don't know if I could receive that, because I've gone my whole life without it, literally my whole life without it. I don't know if I would be able to receive it. And again, that goes back into so much of how easy it is for me to be like, miss me with that. No, I'm good. Something I know I can't. I can't go back and create those times. I can't create those people out of thin air. They don't exist. They don't exist for me. I can't make them. I know how to do it. And she was... Hush. Because initially I had told her, I was like, I don't know how to have those interactions. And she was like, but you do. Because you provide those interactions for people. And I was like, okay, let me rephrase that. I don't know if I could receive those things. She goes, there it is.
Because you have a hard time receiving that even from me.
Yeah.
And like, I check on you because I worry about you. I ask you how you're doing because I worry about you, not because I got to make sure she's okay so she can do stuff for me. Like,
yeah. And that's really hard. And even like, because I do recognize and acknowledge that outside of you, I don't have a lot of people checking in on me, and that you are the sole person to do that. And I do appreciate that, but it is really because taking a step back, looking at the whole picture objectively, it's like, oh, that's why, because I've only had fucking Cruella de Vil telling me that no one's going to love me like her, but I can't talk to her openly. What I want, need, feel doesn't matter.
She's one of the first people that instilled fear in you.
She was the first person to instill fear in me. I was terrified of my mother until I wasn't. I was terrified of that woman until it was like, oh, fuck you. I was terrified of that woman until I realized that I have nothing to be terrified because you bring nothing to the fucking table. I will burn this motherfucker down. and I lose nothing. I lose nothing because you gave me nothing. And I'm sorry. I've said this so many times, and I will continue saying this. Feeding, housing, clothing, keeping your child safe.
And that wasn't even done all the time.
Oh, no, keeping me safe? Fuck that.
Well, I mean, you could argue all of them at some point.
Fair. They may have been soup kitchens and hotels or homeless shelters or whatever. Yes, I didn't sleep outside, and I always had food and clothes.
That's a good way to look at it.
But that does not make you a parent.
No.
They do that at an orphanage.
Sort of.
They do it at an orphanage. It may not be, I don't know the standards of orphanages now.
I'm sure it's not great.
I don't know if it's as bad as they make it in the movies where the food's spoiled and, everyone's
Please,
mean.
sir, may I have another?
Like, I don't know the severity, but I know that I could have went to juvie and got 3 hots and a cot, You giving me the essentials,
literally the bare minimum.
Essentials to live with no life lessons or guidance
that weren't, don't do this.
Yeah. Or wildly inappropriate to tell your daughter.
Well,
Some of them have panned out. Wildly inappropriate.
I'm not arguing that, but
that's the end of it.
It had its benefits in certain situations.
You're only talking about the one.
Hey, I said certain situations. That's a certain situation. Thank you. I'm trying to find the silver lining, goddammit.
I don't know how to do this. Because it feels fake. It feels wrong for me.
It doesn't feel fake. It feels foreign. Because you don't know what's fake.
I use the word fake on purpose. Because if you go your whole life not believing that you deserve the ability to be honest about your feelings, that you deserve space to exist, that you deserve to say no, if you grow up, it feels fake. I've never believed it.
You didn't believe in a higher power or a lot of shit until you did. It's not fake. It's just, it's foreign.
It doesn't feel foreign. It feels fake.
It exacerbates that imposter syndrome shit. But I think that's more because it's so foreign. You don't know this, so it's weird and it's odd, and you're just not used to it. And the longer you go doing something, the more normal it starts feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because saying that I'm choosing to do this for myself initially gave me a visceral reaction. I feel it at the back of my neck. It feels uncomfortable.
And every night you say that. And
I've only missed
some nights it's a little bit harder than others, but overall it's gotten less visceral.
It has, but it's still... Who am I to get a massage a month, even though I have been in perpetual fight or flight mode so bad that all of my muscles are
just knots.
My body is falling apart because my muscles are not atrophying at a concerning level, but I have low mobility because of how tense everything is. I have so many underlying health issues, digestion.
It's more the physical issues.
Yeah.
It's not health issues per se. It's your physical body doing shit to you.
Well, that too, but it is health issues. My gut is not healthy. I have digestive issues.
Wouldn't that be more physical as opposed? Okay,
because that's all health. Enough if you have indigestion long enough, that erodes your esophagus.
Well,
so it's all
yeah.
that kind of stuff.
I see what you're saying. Because I always just lump them together.
But the physical aspect of my mobility, of my joints, my muscle, not...
Did something just pop?
No, that was the chair.
Oh. It's like, damn, dude.
But all that stuff is... I'm not even 40. And it's bad. I went for my second massage my whole life on Saturday. Was that Saturday?
Yeah.
It was Saturday. And the whole time she only worked on my shoulders and my back because that's all she could work on, because that's all the time she had.
Because it was so knotted.
Because of, and that's not even getting all the knots out. That's working to the level that she could.
In the time constraint.
Yes. And then when you have literal decades of tension and unresolved shit,
the body keeps score.
The body does keep score. If it is if anyone wants to fucking Google this shit, it's absolutely factual. Trauma, all that kinds of shit gets stored in the fascia of the muscle. And it stays in the body. And it causes shit. Like, it causes not good stuff for the body. Higher levels of lactic acid, higher levels of cortisol, higher levels of all kinds of shit. I can't stay hydrated to save my life because my muscles are always constricted. My body is always working. I'm exhausted all the time because of all that. My shoulders and my ears are best fucking friends, and they have been for years, and they're not supposed to be. They're not supposed to be neighbors, and I've made them neighbors.
You have to actively... I see you do it all the time, like whenever we're driving or just sitting in the living room. It's like you stop and you just...
I have to remind myself, because my body has been in... I have had physical signs of severe anxiety since the age of 3.
That you know of.
That I know of.
That you can, like, viscerally
that I can
remember.
point to and be like, that happened starting at that age, and it happened so, like, it... And again, I can get into more detail about that later, but, like, there's proof. I have crowns down here because I have...
Not crayons, actual crowns.
Ha ha ha.
I'm sorry, I had to.
Yeah, I know. Because I... cracked teeth. I needed root canals, and I fucked up my teeth because that's how tight I have been. Fun fact for everyone, your teeth are not supposed to touch unless you're chewing. Everybody who's listening just did that, though.
And if you didn't, congratulations.
I'm so happy for you. I am so happy for you. But yeah, your teeth are not supposed to touch.
As soon as you said that, I was like, oh.
Yeah, your teeth are not supposed to touch.
And I have to think about it now to keep my jaw slack. It's like the meditations that we do at night a lot of the time. That's one of the first things. Unclench your jaw. Breathe through an open mouth. Like,
yep.
Oh, that's why.
Yep. No,
because you feel it. Like, if you feel your jaw clench, like, that automatically is like creating tension.
I was told at about the age of 10 or 11 that if I didn't stop grinding my teeth, I wasn't going to have teeth in 10 years.
Which luckily that didn't happen, but...
Is it though? The crowns are not my teeth. It's the nubs of my teeth under the crowns. I have a whole fucking spot where I cracked it. I broke a whole fucking tooth. And that can't be fixed and replaced because it broke in half. And that's from me clenching so hard. I'm not supposed to be able to do that. I'm not supposed to be breaking my teeth with my bite. I was told that I have the strongest jaw muscles that he had ever felt.
I believe that.
And So starting now at 38, literally almost 39, it's December. My birthday's in March. We're months away from me being 39. And I have to start saying I love you to myself, and I don't mean it. I know I'm laughing, and I'm not supposed to laugh at the fact that I don't really feel love for myself. I'm starting to feel, okay, I don't think I deserve that. I don't think I'm supposed to be putting up with that. I don't think I'm supposed to be dealing with this.
That's a step in the right direction, though.
So there is progress, but saying that I matter and that I'm important and that I deserve anything.
That's why I try to tell you it as much as possible.
But it feels so
because if you don't hear it from yourself, you need to hear it from somewhere. And you didn't for the long, like earlier. That shit broke my fucking heart, dude.
Which part?
Whenever we were talking, and I was...
Oh, yeah. You're the first person to say, like, and I'm not saying that there haven't been people to not want anything from me. But actions... I know everyone's heard the saying, they speak louder. We get it. And you're the first person to ever tell me, I'm going to be here for you no matter what you can do for me.
That shit hurt whenever you reacted that way. It really fucking did. It broke my fucking heart. That the first reaction is tears.
Because I had a mother who would help me monetarily, whatever. And then it was
back in your face later.
Well, why didn't you pay me back? Well, because you fucking told me not to. Well, you keep that car clean, but the one I got you when you were a teenager, you didn't take good care of it then. Why didn't you do that then? Well, because I was fucking 17.
Who takes care of their car at 17? The boy's almost 21, you see. Like, there's fucking trash all over the place. It's a kid thing, you know.
The drink in the door, that's all I'm going to say.
That shit was so fucking gnarly.
But, like, I've never had someone tell me, hey, no matter what, not even my mother, because something was always expected. Something is always expected of me. The reciprocity. Okay, I was going to say
good job.
It was always, there's always strings attached. There's always, I give you this because you provide this. You are for her, I was her best friend. I was the thing that saved her life. I was this, I was that. I was this perfect thing. I was this perfect being. But I wasn't, obviously. And I'm not perfect. Please, I hate it when people say, "Oh, you."
I don't think you're perfect. I think you're you.
Thank you.
And I don't want perfect. I don't even know. I was telling you this earlier. Like, I don't want perfect. I don't know what the fuck that is. I know what you are. I know who you are. And that's what I want.
It's just very hard for that to be enough. Because I have it, and I've said this recently. I have been called both too much and not enough by actual word and by action. You know, I've been shown that I am too much and not enough. And it's like, how the fuck can you be both? But I've mastered that, apparently.
You're my Goldilocks.
I'm glad that I'm just right for you. Because
you're crazy enough where that part of me gets satiated. Because I can't just be with a normal chick.
Whatever the fuck that means.
I'd be bored. This is the same thing I've always told you. Is like, if you didn't have me in your life, you'd be so fucking bored. And I look at you a lot of the same way. But, like, you're one of the most sweetest, most caring people I've ever met in my entire life. You have a genuinely good heart. And as someone that's been around a lot of people that said they had a good heart, I know the difference. Because there's people that present a certain way and act a certain way, but then whenever doors are closed, it's a different fucking ball game.
Yeah.
And you were not like that. What you see, what I see with you is what I get. And I know you.
And I don't, I mean, yeah, I may be like louder with certain people or more reserved around certain people. But all in all,
that's not the same thing, though. That's knowing your surroundings. That's that's
having decorum. That's acting like I've been in public before.
Yeah. But yeah, you've fucked up. You've made horrible decisions at different times.
But
I've always tried to be a good person.
I've never tried. I've never wanted.
And you hate fucking hurting people.
I do. I don't even like. And it's funny because I don't do confrontation well. I don't. Makes me nauseous thinking about it. But even in those times where I am very...
Quit.
Even in those times where I'm very well within my right to have a discussion about things that have happened to me. About, like, for instance, like you and I am well within my right to say, hey, when you did XYZ, that made me uncomfortable. It made me upset. It made me blah, 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 blah. And that's how I've tried to approach. I've always, and I know I'm trying to not work with absolutes, but I have always tried to think of, okay, I don't want to be like, well, that you remember that one bitch, or you remember that one time, you know,
that's
like
so unproductive.
Incredibly so,
because it automatically makes the other person.
It's
defensive.
a defense, like
whoa, what the fuck?
Yeah, you come in and
that's what I do. I come in hot.
I saw a video about tone earlier.
Oh, shut up.
And I know that especially when you're in the moment, you're like, this is just how I fucking do it. Leave me alone.
I am trying.
You are incredibly.
To curb that.
You are.
Even when I'm heated, I'm still actively fighting back.
You are.
Not just.
You are. But that's a perfect example. You come in hot. It's like, oh. And I never want, even in.
Which is stupid because I got on to Kaylee the other day. Not that she was coming in hot, but she got viscerally, like, she was just like, oh my fucking God, I can't do anything. We're like, no, stop.
Down,
like, it's not that. You forgot one thing.
Yeah.
Calm down.
It was super inconvenient.
Fixed. It was inconvenient, but inconvenient shit's going to happen. We're going to fix it. You're going to be taken care of. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
Just stop doing that to yourself. Stop beating yourself up.
Yeah, it's also saw a video on something else I have to work out. Taking accountability for anything that you may have done without turning it into self-guilt and like self-flagellation. But
that was a hard one to learn because we're used to, if you're taking accountability, you have to prostrate yourself to the other person and you have to kiss their ass constantly. And
you have to walk on eggshells
and that's not yes, the
sir,
same
no,
thing.
Sir, and
like that's fucking dumb.
Because it reinforces the negative
it
things. It
reinforces that there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
And that's not conducive to growing as a person.
It's not. And it's all a process. And like
it's
all
like,
of this.
I fucked up. And you should be contrite. You should, try to make it up to the person as much as you can. But as far as turning it inwards, and I knew it. I knew I was going to fuck it up. I'm just a piece of shit. Because that's where our minds go. That's the shit that you got to stop.
Yeah.
And it is hard because that's the easiest thing to go to in our lives.
It really, really is. If I would have just done things differently. If I would
this
have
would have been different. He wouldn't have reacted like this. Whatever the fuck.
Yep.
And that's why I've told you, you can't even worry about how I'm going to react to shit.
And That was weird.
It sounded like it was outside.
It might have been a stray cat or something. But that is incredibly hard for me to do. To just be like,
fuck it. Well, not fuck it, but
because if I don't give a shit, if I don't,
that's a different thing, though.
If I care about you, I hesitate. I am incredibly apprehensive about saying anything to anyone that may upset them at all. And even when I feel slighted or that I'm in the right to say exactly how I want to say it, exactly when I want to say it, because fuck you, there's still pause in myself.
Because you know why that is?
I never...
It's because you're a good person. You don't want to purposely hurt people's feelings like everybody has done to you.
Yeah. I don't...
Like, honestly. And that's why I say you're the person with the best heart that I met. Because everybody else that I met says shit like that, and then they go for the fucking jugular any chance they get in a fight.
And me, I shut down. I want no
Not that
part.
That's healthy. But
no, it's not. It's not. There's a lot of things that I still need to work on. And I feel corny saying that I have a workbook. With activities in it.
Years ago, I would have agreed with you, but now I don't.
And
because
now
I purposely journal every single day because it helps my mental health.
I struggle with that one.
I read as much as I can. I listen to as many self-help learning podcasts as I can.
Audiobooks,
whatever. Like my spirituality is a big thing now, so I'm really delving into that.
Yeah.
Because it helps. And not that long ago, I would have turned my nose up at all that stuff.
And thinking I'm just struggling to get to the point where I think and that I actually feel and believe that I deserve anything. That I deserve an hour once a month to go
get a massage.
To go get a massage.
To take time to you're worth the money for a therapy session.
Yeah. When there are so many other things we could be paying for. And that's how easy it is. I could buy groceries. I could pay a bill. I could get something for the kids. I could do so many better things with whatever money.
It's not better, it's other.
And that's why I did the quotes is because in my head
it needs to stop being better and it's other.
And even other I have to figure out a way to reframe it all, because even if I say other things, those other things become more important than my thing. So I don't know what that shift has to be or what it is. That's
going to be tricky nomenclature to figure out.
Yeah, because
anything could have that negative connotation.
There's a higher in the higher, if it's put where it's a hierarchy, where it's other. Yeah, I understand that just because it's
like,
other.
Wait a minute. Miscellaneous is higher than you. What the fuck?
Tell me it wouldn't be easy for me to justify it. It would be. It would be so easy for me to be like, oh, well, we've been wanting to do blah, blah, blah. I can wait.
So I'm going to do that. We're going to do that instead of...
So super easy for me to neglect and abandon and because of that complete disregard for myself in those moments, in a lot of moments. I say in those moments, but it's every moment that I want to say no or do something differently or be disagreeable. It's so easy. It's so easy for me to be like, yeah.
Like, no, it's not a big deal.
I'll do it tomorrow.
You get mad at me whenever I put shit off like that.
Tomorrow never comes for me. It never does. And I know that it is a me choice. It is easy for me to make that choice. And I don't know how to fix it. I'm trying. I can't say right now that I think it's working or that and that sucks, you know, but obviously this isn't an overnight fix. And because of the historic neglect from myself
and from everybody else
and from everyone else, because
that,
if I show people that I will give up on myself, it's so easy for everyone else to be like,
yeah. And it goes back to that corny ass old saying, like, nobody's gonna know how to love you.
I know.
If you don't love yourself. Or however the fuck that's worded.
Yeah.
I probably just butchered that.
It's, yeah, I
no one's
know.
gonna love you until you love yourself, or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
Or
I'm having trouble.
Teach people how to love you, or
I'm having trouble in this moment remembering.
Probably 37 different ones I just use at the same time.
They're all correct.
Hopefully I made one up, so one of them's mine.
There you go. It is very hard when it is so easy to give up on yourself. It is. So I don't know, and this will be a journey. But because of everything, the past month has been excruciatingly difficult. And now it's just like trying to pick up pieces from yet another breakdown. And I'm still not out of the breakdown necessarily. I'm still processing.
You're a lot further than you give yourself credit for.
And that is a whole other thing. It's this whole fucking thing of like considering myself a whole human being and trying to take care of the only human being that I can fully take care of all the time. When I never took care of this person. I just did what everyone else wanted to do. How did I say it to Joe earlier? You become so agreeable. So people will stay. So people will love you. I don't even know who I am. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I like. I don't know.
You lose your identity in it.
Yeah. Because I've just been so scared of abandonment that I will just be the most agreeable person at whatever cost. Because if I'm just agreeable enough, that's how you get people to stay.
Which isn't true. How many of them are here?
Oh, I know. I wasn't just, that look wasn't a
No, I thought that was a whoa.
No, that's a, they may not have stayed, but I still fucking did it. Those were the choices that were made. And it's recognizing those is hard. Realizing that no, I didn't deserve any of that shit.
You didn't.
I didn't deserve a fucking...
And I say that as somebody who put you through it.
I didn't deserve a lick of it. Just because I did not have the strength to say, fuck off. Not once. To any of you motherfuckers. Like, none of y'all.
I am happy that you've gotten more comfortable, not necessarily saying that, because you still try to, like, dance around it
I do.
A little bit.
It makes me uncomfortable.
But you were more direct about, like, seriously.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Because I've always wanted you to be more direct about that shit anyway.
It scares me.
I know it does, but you're starting out small, and it seems like you're getting more and more comfortable with that. And if you're getting comfortable with that with me, I feel bad for fucking anybody else. Because you have to live with me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I understand there being more trepidation with me than anybody else. And
yeah, it's really hard.
I know personally that I have held you back from scorching the fucking earth a time or two.
It's so...
I know.
These bitches don't know. They forget. And it's not that they don't know. And that's what pisses me off the most.
They do know.
They do know. And these bitches have forgotten where I come from. They have forgotten.
I'm from the Wissahickon Woods.
Way back. Way back from those motherfuckers. Like...
But at the same time, that's not the person you are. And that is more the reason I prevent you from doing shit like that. Because I know the person you are. And I know how it's going to negatively affect you later.
And sometimes these hoes just need the unhealed version of this bitch, okay?
That's what you want to do. But but what happens after that? Walk through it. If you unleash what happens.
I know. That's another story for another time. I get it. I know that
I do try to protect you.
Even from myself. Yourself. Yes.
Mostly from yourself, oddly enough. Because you don't need my protection whenever it comes to other motherfuckers.
That's true, fair, and valid. Yeah. And so, and I know that, my journey will be part of what we talk about. Because we talk about a myriad of shit. But I know this is going to be hard. And I know I'm not the only motherfucker who goes through this shit.
I've gone through it very recently.
And
I'm a little bit on this side of it, though.
Yeah.
And
I know that
I've had more time to deal with it. Like, you gave me that space. You gave me the space to process all of my shit.
Yeah. And I also know that healing isn't linear. So I may be here today but I may be really good or really bad tomorrow, and then the next day
it's just like the weekend for me.
Yeah.
Friday and Saturday were fucking horrible. Sunday morning, I woke up a completely different fucking person.
Yeah. And it was more so just Saturday, because
I didn't talk on Friday.
Fair and valid. But
I know how bad I was on Friday, and I was trying to keep it I was trying to deal with it.
Fair and valid.
And then obviously we saw the tragic end of that tale.
Fair and valid.
See what happens when you try to do shit by yourself. Hey, that one wasn't about you. That was about me.
Fair and valid. But I'm scared shitless. This feels so uncomfortable. I feel like I want to vomit. Like, I feel it
you feel that heaviness
in my stomach and at the base of my throat. I feel that at the back of my neck. Like, this is so incredibly uncomfortable, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be uncomfortable to love yourself. It shouldn't be uncomfortable to think that you're worthy of life. Because this isn't living. It's not. Not fully.
And you're working on that.
And so I just want to kind of wrap up by saying, anybody who's listening that is going through some shit, I understand therapy is expensive. There are a lot of options. There's group counseling sessions that can be free. There are online groups. There are so many things.
There's online research you can do, because sometimes, like with my situation, just doing the research and potentially putting a name to it and figuring out tricks and tips for it
can help.
It's not enough necessarily, because there's other work to be done, but it does help.
Of course, always go to a licensed professional if you can. If you feel some kind of way and medication you feel would help, talk to your primary care.
Talk to a primary care. Talk to
a psychiatrist.
If you feel like you're in imminent danger of yourself, you absolutely need to talk to somebody sooner rather than later.
Go to an ER if you absolutely have to.
100%.
Because I would much rather... me personally, I would much rather an ER bill or something like that than a funeral bill. Those are just facts. But no matter what anyone may look like, I've stepped away from social media quite a bit. But just because someone shows something doesn't mean that that's how they're feeling on the inside. If you're feeling some kind of way about anything, you're not alone. It's hard for me to say things like, I'm grateful that I'm choosing my mental health journey for me, for myself. Not for my husband, not for my kids, not for my family, but for myself. Because I think I deserve it. I don't actually believe that. And I want to. And I know that there's plenty of other people out there that don't.
And that's the work. The work is to get there. And I told you this morning, I'm not letting go. I'm going to hold your hand through the whole fucking thing until you feel better. I'm not going anywhere.
But you guys out there too are not alone, even if you feel like you are. Yeah, you're not alone. We are all going through something. We are all at different stages, different levels of understanding. All of it. It's a journey. If you have questions, if you need recommendations, if you have anything like that you need, reach out. You may not know us from a hole in the ground, but we don't mind trying to help or give.
We're all strangers at some point.
We are all strangers at some point. This is one of the hardest things I've had to do. And it's scary. And for anyone who is listening who is trying to make changes in their life, it's okay. It's okay to start again. It's okay to
fail and
it's okay
regress.
to fail. Yeah, all of it is okay. And because you don't want that for yourself, whatever that is, the minute you don't want it anymore, that's a good enough reason to change.
You're worth it.
You are worth it. Because
I was talking directly to you.
I'm worth it.
I agree that everybody's worth it if they choose, but I'm talking to you right now. You're worth it. Not just for you, for me.
Thank you. That means a lot. I want to feel like I'm worth it too, so I will keep doing the work.
I'll keep beating you over the head with it until it sinks in.
And that goes for everyone out there. Please, give yourself the grace and do the work because you're worth it too. So, you know where to find us on all social media. You know where to listen to us, anywhere you get your podcasts.
I love how you're super emotional. They go right back into Carney mode.
Yeah. Gotta wrap this shit up. Come on. I'm getting the light. My set's about to end.
I do want to actually get a light so I could just hit it.
Yes. Oh, if I could get my light, that'd be super cool. Anyway, until next time, guys, fucking take care of yourself.
And each other.
And each other. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. If you like this episode or know someone who would, please help us grow the show by liking, subscribing, and sharing.
Keep up with all episodes on Buzzsprout or anywhere else you get your podcasts.